The screen fades into a dimly lit suburban neighborhood, the kind where every lawn is mowed just right and neighbors wave to each other without really knowing each other's names. It's 2:47 a.m., and police lights flash like lightning across the windows of the Bennett family home. A child's bicycle lays on its side in the driveway. Yellow tape flutters in the breeze. A woman is crying, her hands stained red. They say he was a good man, a loving father, a devoted husband, the kind of man who showed up to every soccer game, cooked pancakes on Sundays, and never raised his voice. But tonight, Thomas Bennett is being handcuffed on his front lawn for murder. Subscribe now, and stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear is not just a story about a man. It's about the masks we wear, and the secrets that can shatter the perfect life in a single night. To anyone watching, the Bennetts had the American dream. Thomas was a high school chemistry teacher, charming, soft-spoken, always the last to leave parent-teacher conferences. His wife, Emily, was a nurse known for baking cookies for the neighborhood watch meetings. Their two kids, Lily and Max, were bright and polite. Family photos lined the hallway walls, always color-coordinated and full of laughter. Neighbors described Thomas as a rock, the guy who shoveled driveways in the winter without being asked, who fixed leaky faucets, who always had time to help. But the cracks in the dream were small at first, almost invisible. Late nights at school, whispers on the phone, a mysterious bank withdrawal. Emily mentioned it once to her sister. Tom's been distant lately. I can't explain it, but it feels like he's carrying something. Like there's a weight he doesn't want to talk about. Then came the accident, or at least, that's what they called it at first. A student from Thomas's school, 17-year-old Daniel Reyes, was found dead in the woods behind campus. Official cause: overdose. Case closed in a week. But there were rumors about Daniel's chemistry grades improving overnight, about arguments with Thomas in the hallway. Still, no one connected the dots. Not yet, until Daniel's mother found a note in his backpack. And it had Thomas Bennett's name on it. The note was short, sloppy handwriting, barely legible. I can't do this anymore. He said he'd ruin my life. Said no one would believe me anyway. D. Mrs. Reyes took it straight to the police. They reopened the case, but Thomas had an explanation. Daniel had been caught cheating on a chemistry test. Thomas confronted him, but that was it. Nothing more. Still, the whispers started. Then came another twist. Emily received an anonymous letter in the mail. No return address. Just a single photograph. Thomas, standing outside a rundown motel. Next to him, a teenage girl. Not a student, not anyone Emily recognized. Her heart sank. She confronted him. He said it was a misunderstanding, that he was helping the girl escape an abusive home. He'd been working with a youth outreach program, quietly, privately, to protect the kids. Emily wanted to believe him. She needed to, but she couldn't shake the feeling. Especially when Lily, their daughter, asked, "Why did Daddy yell at that girl in the garage?" Emily checked the garage camera, and what she saw changed everything. It was grainy, the footage, but clear enough. Thomas standing over the girl, pointing a finger in her face. She's crying. He grabs her arm, shouts something. She flinches, tries to pull away. Then, static. The recording cuts off. Emily called the police. When they traced the girl's face, they found her. Or rather, they found where she used to be. Her name was Riley, 17, runaway, last seen a month ago. But the address Thomas had visited, the motel, it was her last known location. The next morning, detectives searched the garage. They found bloodstains beneath the workbench, and a bracelet with Riley's initials. Thomas was arrested within hours. But in the interrogation room, he said something chilling. "You don't know what she was involved in. You have no idea what I was trying to stop." And then he asked for a lawyer. As the investigation deepened, a different portrait of Thomas began to emerge. Phone records, multiple burner phones, late-night trips logged on his car's GPS, money transfers under fake names. He wasn't just a teacher. He wasn't just a father. He was something else entirely. Police followed the trail to an abandoned cabin 2 hours outside the city. Inside, photographs, journal entries, and a list, names, ages, and dates. All teenagers. All missing. Including Daniel and Riley. There was one more thing. A phone. Smashed, but recoverable. Forensics pulled audio clips. One, in particular, made the lead detective go pale. It was Thomas's voice. If anyone finds this, then I've failed. I tried to save them. I tried to stop what was coming. And it's bigger than me. Bigger than all of us. The trial hadn't even begun, but the town had already taken sides. Some called Thomas a monster, a manipulator, a predator hiding in plain sight. Others called him a hero, a vigilante trying to rescue kids from trafficking rings no one else cared about. Emily was trapped in the middle. The kids were moved out of town. The house was vandalized, her job suspended. She started digging on her own, through Thomas's journals, his hard drives, old files. And that's when she found the map. Hand-drawn, marked with red X's. One of the locations, a farmhouse on the outskirts of town. She called the police. They raided the site. Inside, chains, beds, surveillance cameras, and a recording system, already wiped. But in a crawlspace beneath the floor, a USB drive, labeled, for Emily, and on it, a video. Thomas, alone, crying. If you're watching this, I'm already gone. But you need to know the truth. The rest of the video is corrupted. Emily takes it to a specialist. They begin to recover the files. Frame by frame, the screen flickers back to life. And what it reveals in those final seconds is something no one saw coming. Something that will turn the entire case upside down. But that's where we end, for now. Because the truth about Thomas Bennett is just beginning. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't miss part 2, The Hidden Network. The file loaded slowly on the specialist's screen. Frame by frame, pixel by pixel, the corrupted video of Thomas Bennett began to reconstruct itself. At first, nothing but static. Then a dim figure. Thomas, sitting in a dark room, backlit by a single swinging bulb. His eyes were red, hands shaking, his voice cracked. If you're watching this, Emily, I couldn't tell you. Because if I did, they'd come for you too. He paused, seeming to wrestle with his next words. I wasn't hunting them, I was working for them. At first, the room fell still. Thomas had been involved, not just investigating, not just witnessing. He had been inside the operation. I didn't know what it was at first. A private foundation funding extracurricular programs for at-risk teens. That's what they called it. They paid well, no questions asked. But then I saw it. The vans, the lists, the camps, the auctions. He looked directly at the camera. I tried to leave. They threatened Lily, Max, you. So I stayed, and I played my part. Until I could figure out how to burn it down from the inside. Emily dropped the flash drive. The room around her suddenly felt too small. The air too thick. Everything she thought she knew was unraveling. She turned to the specialist. Can you extract the rest? I'll try. But the files are fragmented. This was wiped by someone who knew what they were doing. Meanwhile, the trial of Thomas Bennett began making national headlines. Talk shows speculated. Podcasters theorized. Documentarians began filming. Half the country saw a criminal mastermind. The other half saw a whistleblower. Emily watched from afar. She hadn't spoken to Thomas since his arrest. Her calls were blocked, her letters unanswered. But she had one goal now: finish what he started. She took the map, the journals, the recovered files, and followed the red X's one by one. One led to a self-storage facility under a fake name. Inside, a locker filled with school hits. Photos of children, surveillance images, transaction receipts. Another led to a real estate firm operating dozens of short-term rentals, each used for only a few days, then never again. She took it all to Detective Alvarez, the only cop who'd ever seemed to hesitate when they called Thomas a killer. I know what this looks like, Emily told him. But you said it yourself, some of this didn't add up. He opened the folder, looked at the photos, frowned. These places, I've seen a few in previous investigations. Nothing ever stuck. Reports would vanish. Tips would dry up. Emily leaned in. That's because someone's making them disappear. And then, another bombshell dropped. A second video surfaced. This one leaked, posted anonymously on a dark web forum, but copied before it was taken down. It showed Thomas, Again, but he wasn't alone. Across from him, a man in a black coat. Face obscured, voice distorted. "You're in too deep now, Thomas. You don't walk away from this. You know the rules." Thomas responded, low but furious. "I'll burn it all. I'll go public." The other man smiled. "Then Emily dies, and your kids disappear." The video ended. The internet exploded. Supporters flooded forums claiming Thomas was framed, that he was a victim of the very network he tried to expose. But skeptics argued, he still had blood on his hands. Riley was missing. Daniel was dead. Intent didn't erase evidence, but Emily knew there was more. She revisited the farmhouse. This time, she explored deeper. Beneath the crawlspace, behind a wall panel, she found a locked safe. It took her hours, but inside, more drives, more files, and a list of names. One name jumped out, a man currently running for state senate. Another, a police commissioner. A third, a school board president. It wasn't just a network of traffickers. It was an infrastructure. Thomas hadn't stumbled into a crime. He'd uncovered an empire. She took everything to Alvarez. He looked nervous now, real fear in his eyes. If this is real, Emily, we're in danger just having it. They made copies, sent them to trusted journalists. But hours later, Alvarez's car was found burned. He was gone. No body, no note, just a symbol spray painted on the side of the wreckage. An eye, crossed out. Emily knew that symbol. It was on Thomas's map. It marked locations, safe houses, meeting points. But this meant someone was watching. She moved the kids again, changed her name, stayed on the run, but she never stopped digging. And then, one night, she received a call. Blocked number, male voice, familiar, but warped. "Emily, don't hang up, it's me, Thomas." He was supposed to be in prison. He was supposed to be awaiting trial. But the call traced back to South Dakota. And when Emily pulled up the last known GPS ping, there it was. Another red X, another safe house, another chance to learn the truth. But what she'll find there will change everything. Forever. Subscribe for part 3 and 4.